In this first lesson, we went over the following. Firstly, we worked on rhythm and the concept of rhythmic subdivision. Secondly, we moved on to strumming. This was an exercise that was pretty easy, but very efficient. After that, we moved on to the note names. This is very important as this method is based around musical notation. And finally, we went on to 4 picking combinations. This was an exercise that used all 4 fingers of our left hand and alternate picking on our right hand. So let's go into more detail. In the first part of our lesson, we worked on rhythm and how to use subdivisions with a metronome to help us stay in time. The majority of you will already know how to do this and will understand when you see the video of my practice. But just in case you don't, you can head over to our Patreon for another video on this. Find the link below. Next, strumming. We divided this part of the practice into 2 sections. Firstly, strumming the guitar with no particular tempo for 10 to 20 minutes. This will help you with your posture, your stamina, and your technique. The second part of the practice was to do the same thing on time, with a metronome, on the backbeat, and on beat. Note names. The same way you need to understand the alphabet to speak any language, you need to know your notes to be able to understand music. As we mentioned earlier, this method is based around musical notation. It should be fairly easy as there are many websites and applications to help you learn the notes. Ideally, you want to be able to visualize the notes on the staff in your head. But if you're struggling with this, let us know in the comments below and we'll be able to help you out with some more tips and tricks of our own. Finally, 4 picking combinations. In this exercise, you will practice in the 1st, 5th, and 9th positions on the guitar. You will use all 4 fingers and alternate picking. The goal for this exercise is to be able to do all the combinations in this image. So, I've just come back from my first lesson with Alberto and it was amazing, it was nice. I've played guitar on and off for quite a long time, but have just realized where I am in the food chain of guitarists and how much I have to learn. We started off with the basics, recognizing notes on a staff, 4 picking combinations, strumming and rhythm. So fairly basic concepts and a very, very good place to start. Also not so difficult. I think for most beginners this won't be overwhelming, but we're using a really easy website. That's one bonus about this exercise, as well as being the foundation of your musical notation. It's really accessible. There's lots of other apps and websites you can go to learn musical notation. We use Tone Savvy. I'm going to try and move this without it being too chaotic. Which is this little blue website, very accessible, very easy to use, and you go on note names, on practice exercises, treble staff, and then you take off. So next up, I practiced the 4 picking combinations in the 1st, 5th, and the 9th position. So I have 2 combinations that I've been asked to learn, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 4, 2, 3. Up and down the positions across the neck. This wasn't too difficult. I found that I was maybe trying to rush, and I was also going at different tempos because I haven't done it before, or not many times anyway, and certainly not the 1, 4, 2, 3. So my brain's getting used to that, my fingers are getting used to that. They're doing all kinds of funky things and moving into different positions. So I look at Alberto practice this and he's consistently in the same position with his fingers, up and down, barely moving, whereas I'm slapping my fingers on. So strumming. Now, the strumming was the most straightforward of all of the exercises. Excuse the siren, I live next to a fire station. But this was the most straightforward of the exercises in terms of things to remember and technique, because basically all you're doing is muting the strings, keeping my wrist straight. I think one thing I was doing poorly when I first did this was I was flexing and snapping my wrist, but keep that straight and then just strum away, get a timer on, see how long you can do it. After 7 minutes, 5-7 minutes, my shoulder and my arm was starting to ache, because you really have to strum all the strings like it's one note. Imagine that for 20 minutes, it's a killer. But good practice. At the end of the day, you're not going to be playing one song, 1, 2, 3 minute song. So if you're doing fast, strumming throughout a full set, then you're going to expect a little bit of, aches and pains in your shoulders and your hands and your arms. So it's effectively, it's muscle training, and it's also, technique in terms of hitting all the strings with one strum and it sounding like one note almost. For muting, it's good practice for that. So it's all good, but it's difficult. It's not easy. So build up again. I wouldn't start by trying to just go for 20 and push through the pain. Like imagine it like gym training. I would start off low and slow. You can use a metronome for this as well. That will help you with your tempo and your timing and everything. But don't go for broke. You don't have to. I think start off nice and easy. It's good to push your limits and see where it starts aching, but don't push through and risk getting injured or risk putting yourself off doing the exercise. Just little bits, a day at a time, and then you'll get stronger. I'm sure. I'm telling myself this. I'm trying to reassure myself. But yeah, strumming, simple but not easy. On to the next. Woo! Rhythm and rhythmic subdivisions. I suck at this. I'll be honest, this is the thing I'm struggling with the most by a country mile. Staying in time on a backbeat is something that seems really counterintuitive to me. When I hear a metronome, I assume you play on the tick, but I'm doing it on the offbeat. So that's proving a little bit difficult, and I'm losing my way a little bit, even with the metronome. Especially when I get to the faster pace, it's easy enough to go tick strum, tick strum, tick strum, tick strum. Easy still to go, tick 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 up, tick up, tick up, tick up, tick. But up. I always lose my way. So work in progress. I will improve. I'm determined to improve because I'm going to practice. But that one's a tricky one, for me anyway. I mean, I'm assuming everyone's different, but hang in there. There are things I'm going to find easy that you will find difficult, and there's things I will find difficult that you probably find pretty straightforward. For example, anything with maths, I'm in big trouble, so I'll have to put lots of work in. But rhythm, I thought I would be good, with rhythm and timing, and I feel like I can click my, fingers to a song, and I listen to a lot of rap and R&B, but this is a different kettle of fish. This is brain trying to keep up with arm. There's stamina involved, timing, technique. So let's hang in there and just drop in the comments if there's anything you're finding particularly difficult or you're finding very easy, or maybe you've got some tips of your own and you could share them with me. So yeah, thank you so much for putting up with my rambling, but this is the feedback of my first practice. Hi everyone, I just wanted to check in with you before I go to my second lesson. So I've been practicing the notes, I've been practicing the 4 picking combinations, strumming, and the rhythm, the rhythmic subdivisions, and playing on a backbeat and on the beat. And there's a marked improvement for sure. The notes especially, I find the notes, it's giving me, tone savvy is giving me data as well on the speed that I can recognize them, and obviously I know how easy I find it compared to when I started. So the tips Alberto gave me really helped, but obviously practice is what's driving me forward in terms of progression. So the notes, doing well. The 4 picking combinations are getting much better as well, and I can change up the 1, 2, 3, 4 with the 1, 4, 2, 3 across the neck, up and down. I still make mistakes, and I still find the muting is actually probably the hardest part of it, but that will come as well. Everything's getting better. I'm becoming more fluent. I can play a little bit quicker, and now it's just sort of technique and tightening everything up. The strumming is always going to be a little workout. 20 minutes doing anything is tough, running, swimming, whatever. So strumming is no different really. But if you sit there and watch programs and walk around your house just doing it, it's better to do it with a metronome. I found it's just more realistic and it keeps you in time, because when you start getting tired you will start messing up. But that's been good, and I've definitely got better at that as well. Rhythmic subdivisions, much better. Again, I have some sort of quantitative feedback because I'm using a metronome app that I can change the BPM. So I've gone from 60 to 70 to 80 to 100 to 110, and even at 110 now I'm feeling a lot more confident and more comfortable, make less mistakes. So hang in there. That's not all that much time doing it, but it's just every day chipping away a little bit, doing what you can when you can. Everyone's, well, most people have a busy schedule and a life to work around, but you'll find time for the things that you really want to do. And with the guitar, unfortunately, it's necessary. You just have to put the hours in. Other people are, and you want to be a good player, you got to do the tough stuff. I know that now, and it's definitely humbling me, but I'm enjoying it. So I hope you are too, and I'm looking forward to my next lesson. So let's see what Berto's got for me.